Get it going. Why don't you lead us into our next topic?
No. You do it. You cut this up. You know.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Okay, I'll do the first one. You can do the other ones.
All right.
Okay. Set me up again.
Why don't you lead us into our second topic of the day?
Sure will, Bobby. Lamar Jackson sitting down 2-on-1 in a sit-down interview with the NFL Network. Baldy and Steve Weish came to Owings Mills for the Ravens' first padded practice. And I thought something was interesting, Bobby, in this interview. There's actually a couple of pullouts to come from it. But if you remember, when he came to his press conference last week, when the Ravens had their first day of practice, somebody asked him, do you feel like this is the best roster you've been a part of since coming to the NFL? And of course, that was coming on the heels of ESPN releasing their roster rankings, where they put Ravens number 1. I feel like they should be number 2 or 3, Eagles number 1, but whatever. All of them, all capable to make Super Bowl runs if healthy. And so Lamar's like, yeah, I think it's the best I've been on. He's like, but I say that every year. So he was like, like the way he said it was like, well, I just have to say that every year. Like, cause I'm not going to diss my current teammates and say, no, it's the worst, you know. We also don't want to diss my former teammates and saying it's, you know, being loud and be like, oh yeah, this is way better. So last week it was kind of a throwaway question and a throwaway line. But this time, when he was with these guys, and now he's been at practice a few times, you tell me if it felt like he was a little bit more confident and maybe stuck his chest out a little bit more on how this roster ranks compared to others he's been on. And it's not playing. Will it play for you?
One moment.
Does this feel like the best team? Like, I know every year is different, Lamar, but coming in this year, the offseason, the acquisitions, Jair, Nuke, everybody. I mean, does it feel like this is the best team you've been on?
To be honest, just from the experience I have, the experience that we got coming back, I say so. Just with the experience,
All right, so maybe in the past, you're saying, let me just make sure I'm picking up what you're putting down here. In the past, you think it would be a little bit more of a, what's the right word? Sort of a business-like answer, but that maybe was a little bit more, I don't know if transparent's the right word, or maybe a little bit more inward-looking. Like, is that?
Yeah, I mean, he's like, he's just like, here, I'm just going to keep it real. He said, let me be honest with you. Yeah, I do think it's the best. And it's interesting because, I mean, last year, it was a good squad. But here's the thing. They've kept all their major players. 11 out of, they're only missing one starter from offense. And we just talked about who the starter was. He had the most penalties on the offensive line. Then on the defense, how could you not think this defense is upgraded? When you talk about the losses of personnel versus the gains, like one of the big losses was Michael Pierce, but the entire outside linebacker room is returning. And then you added Mike Green, who we just raved about in the first padded practice. And then the secondary was poo-poo last year. They had to like undergo that major change. So you've lost our Darius Washington. We'll see if Malachi Starks can meet that level or higher in his rookie year. He certainly has a higher ceiling. They've added Jair Alexander. They've let go of Brandon Stevens. I would say that it's for sure a dip at kicker, but we don't know yet because how bad was Justin Tucker last year? So last year was a Super Bowl caliber team, and it feels like on paper this team is better. And now he's got a few practices under his belt, and he's saying, yeah, it is. Or what other teams can we compare it to? The 2023 team where they lost in the AFC Championship to the Chiefs? That was pretty good.
Definitely. Pre-King Henry, but
there was no Ronnie Stanley. There was no King Henry.
There was no King Henry, but they were still, I think the big difference there obviously was it was an elite defense. Top 2, top 3, if not top 1 defense. Right?
Yes. And so that is where the big change is. Yes.
Statistically, you could argue that you saw shades of that from weeks 10 through the end of the regular season and even into the postseason. But that was only a half game, or excuse me, a half season sample size of that last year. So,
but then you go back to 2019, and that defense was not very good. So 2023 might be the closest because of the defense, but the offense is now better. I think there's better weapons everywhere, and we're going to find out about the defense. But they certainly have improved over last year. But Lamar saying, "Yeah, I think it is." This could get interesting.
Ultimately, the biggest question remains in special teams.
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how you could say anything different when you see the way this and if you're looking for a 1B, I guess it's like, is Malachi capable of doing what our Darius Washington did last year?
Mm-hmm. I feel more confident about that than I do about Tyler Loop right now, but we'll see. We'll see. Maybe he'll adjust again to the pads if that's, John Harbaugh mentioning that. I don't know.
How can you not feel confident when not only Malachi has the luxury of being alongside Kyle, but Kyle, Mr. Business himself, gets up at his press conference the other day and says he's light years, paraphrasing, ahead of where I was a few years ago.
Yeah.
How can you not feel confident about that?
Mm-hmm.
So,
and the other one, Bobby, which we talked about before, is the linebacker position next to Roquan. I think Roquan he mentioned having an injury at the beginning of last year. I think Roquan coming in shape without the injury is already helpful. So we'll see. I mean, Chris Board and
Malik Harrison
had to step in there, and those weren't two guys that like last year at this time would be feeling confident about. So we'll see what Trenton Simpson or Teddy Buchanan. I almost said Teddy Bruschi, Hall of Famer, Patriot. Teddy Buchanan does. We'll see.
Yeah.
So it's not like there aren't any weaknesses on the roster.
Right.
But is it better? I think it's up there.
I think we just ripped off 1A, B, and C.
Yep.
And then I think the umbrella over all of those conversations, which really it might be the be all end all when it's all said and done. Will they have a pass rush in January?
Right.
A consistent, winning, game-defining type of pass rush that can lead to turning the ball over, that can lead, taking away the ball, turning the ball over, shifting momentum, giving Lamar another opportunity at a drive, at a possession. That's those things, those four things right there. You feel confident about what you're going to get elsewhere. Really confident about what you're going to get elsewhere. It's those four areas.
Well, and to top it all off, by the way, which we didn't mention because it was Lamar who was asked the question, Lamar himself could be even better because that's all we've seen since 2018 is he just keeps getting better. And it's like, wait, is there room for it? And that kind of leads into another answer he's about to give, it being number 28. And so the roster might be better just because Lamar Jackson's better.
Yes. Expanding on to your point, comments from last week. I'm only 28. That garnered all sorts of attention, especially from the national media. The NFL Network guys asked him, and it was a very short answer, but he did expand on it ever so slightly. Listen to the end of what he says here.
He said, I'm only 28 years old.
Yeah.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So what's in store?
A lot. Sky's the limit, as long as I'm playing.
As long as I'm playing.
Play that again.
Right?
Play that again.
As long as I'm playing, goes Lamar. You don't often hear that kind of spunk from him. Here it is.
He said, I'm only 28 years old.
Yeah.
I'm just getting started.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So what's in store?
A lot. Sky's the limit, as long as I'm playing.
As long as I'm playing.
Sarah, every once in a while you get a little feel for what he might be like in between the lines. Like, I'm Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
I'm Lamar effing Jackson. This is year 8 for him. It should be a 3-time MVP, somebody that's just kind of chasing after how to mirror his regular season game and a couple playoff games that he has, or a couple playoff halves, let's call it, to what he can do in January. It's coming at some point.
Well, and you have to also just this kind of like we're talking about this with Lamar. He's saying, sky's the limit as long as I'm playing. We've just talked about how he always gets better. But I will also say this. This is now a more veteran team. It's not so veteran that it's a bunch of old guys. It's like, are they going to be able to like Kyle Van Noy is one guy that they definitely rely on. But like, I'm trying to think of like another starter that it's like, are they going to be able to continue to produce at a high level at their age? Maybe D-Hop, but again, the Ravens are going to be asking him to do too much. Anyway, my point being is this team has been through it all. Like almost the entire offense is returning from last year and knowing how disappointed they were. Most of the guys on this roster have done that the last 2 years between losing in Buffalo and at Kansas City. That stuff hardens you. I'm hoping that with Mark Andrews and the way that went down, he's going to come back even stronger and harder and better and like refuses to let it be me this time, right? So many guys have witnessed it. And so just talking about the quality of roster, I remember vividly how we felt in 2011 when they beat themselves against the New England Patriots, when Joe Flacco had outplayed Tom Brady, and then Lee Evans and Billy Cundiff come along and just lost it in the end. And I still remember, and Lamar Jackson just retweeted this the other day, Bobby. I remember feeling sick at the end of that game. And then Ravens production puts out the speech that Ray Lewis had in the locker room in Foxborough. And he's like, everybody get in here. And he's like, do not hold your head low. The way we feel right now, somebody felt last week, somebody else is feeling in the NFC, somebody's going to feel that way in 2 weeks at the Super Bowl. He talked about big picture, how he had talked to a mom who had just lost her 17-year-old to cancer. And he's like, you better not go out there with your head hung low because people rely on us. And he's like, God doesn't make mistakes. God doesn't make mistakes. Where we're blessed is we're going to come back and we're going to have another opportunity, because a lot of that team came back from 2011 to 2012 also. This 2025 team, if they do it right, will do what that 2012 team is, which is not keep your head down low. Use that as motivation. Use it to motivate others around you, and you be the leader in saying, no, this isn't going to define me. And then you realize that you're blessed. According to this is what Ray Lewis said. We're blessed because we get another opportunity. And so many guys are returning, and they're going to have the opportunity together. So when we talk about whether it's a better roster, if they do it right, heck yes, last year's ending will make them a better roster.
One of the all-time speeches, especially with what happened the following year. That thing and the way that was off the cuff performed by Ray in such a moment of heartbreak, to then turn around the next year and fulfill it, ultimately bring it all back around, makes that speech, it aged like friggin' fine wine.
Oh, it was amazing.
One more clip from Lamar's recent sit-down with NFL Network, Brian Baldinger, Steve Weish, and this has everything to do about the guy that was not there in 2023 for that AFC Championship run, Sarah, but did come to Baltimore last year, and my gosh, that he just hit the ground running immediately. That is King Henry. Listen to Lamar talk about his fellow teammate in the backfield.
As long as you've been here, you've always been a good running football team.
Yeah, absolutely.
But when you add Derrick, did you notice defenses trying to play you different?
Yeah.
How?
You know, guys, I believe he'd be like 8 in the box sometimes. You know, defense try to stop him before he gets started, because I just me seeing it with myself and believing in Derrick. Once he gets to the linebacker level, it's probably a house call. It's probably a house call.
Well, it was a house call in the first play against Buffalo.
Yeah, that's
regular season.
That's what I'm saying.
87 yards.
Yeah.
Like, nobody on the defense could lay it. If it was flag football, they wouldn't have ripped the flag off.
Nah, man, I always tell him, I say, bro, you 260 pounds full of muscle, bro, and you run like that. I believe you run like a 4.3, to be honest, because guys couldn't catch him. Guys couldn't catch him.
If Derrick were going out.
Man, Derrick, I'm not a racer, you know, I'm a football guy. You know, I play football. I don't race. I leave that to the Olympians and stuff like that. Leave it to Tyreek Hill, because Tyreek Hill can run.
So time and time again over the years, Lamar's refused to really engage in any of the fun, like street race type of conversation. But a couple things there. Love the house call comment on Derrick once he gets to the linebacker level, because it's true. And go ask Buffalo about that, like Baldy remembered well. And two, he thinks Derrick Henry at 31 years old, or is he 30 or 31? A 4.3? A 4.3.
That's bananas. at his size, to Lamar's point.
If that's true, that is, as the kids say, diabolical. A 4.3. It wouldn't surprise me, Sarah, if he got up to that speed when he had that house call on the first play, offensively speaking, in that Buffalo game. But a 4.3 is insanity.
It is absolute insanity. And it's cool to hear Lamar talk about it, because we've talked about it, but Lamar Jackson is probably the best athlete in the NFL. We've heard people say he's probably the best offensive player in the NFL. And so when you hear Lamar kind of in awe at what Derrick can do, it's kind of fun to listen to. And you want to know what else was fun to listen to, even though we didn't bring it in, is Baldy brought in one of his Baldy breakdowns, which we love to watch in the regular season. And I remember he pulled up footage of Lamar just cooking the Houston Texans defense and just like looking in his rear view mirror at them and like basically jogging. And Baldy's like, look at that, the Pompano jog. And Lamar loved it. He loved it. He was there for the Pompano jog.
Yeah, and I think it's just a good reminder that these Baldy breakdowns are really respected within the player community. I was listening to Derrick Henry's recent sit down with Baldy as well. He and Lamar, Sarah, both mentioned to him that they enjoy the Baldy breakdowns. And I had a chance to catch up with him at the combine, and maybe, just maybe, now that I think about it, and he's out at camp this week.
Oh, that's a great
maybe
idea.
I float the text out there to see if he's interested in coming on, because obviously from an offensive line standpoint, that's where he is most respected. But the guy knows football in and out, nitty gritty. So perhaps we go and dive into the inbox there. But by the way, Derrick,
oh, go ahead.
Just to answer my own question, I already knew. I just needed a reminder on it. Derrick turns 32 in January of 2026.
Do we want an impromptu Ray Lewis speech? Because I've got it.
Go ahead.
You sure?
How long?
Come on, let's get inspired.
How long?
I'm trying to tell y'all, God has never made a mistake. He's never made one mistake. All right? So it ain't about one play, it ain't about nothing. This year, we did what we were supposed to do. We fought as a team. We fought as a team. There will be one Super Bowl champ crown at the end of this year. That's it. So the way we feel, somebody gonna feel like that tomorrow, and somebody gonna feel like that in a week. That's a fact. And the fact is, we got to come back and go to work to make sure we finish it next time. That's all we got to do. Remember that, man. God has never made a mistake. But we done came too far to drop our head. Joe, you played your ass off. You hear me, man? I'm telling you, man, don't ever drop your head when it comes to a loss, dog. Because there's too much pain outside of this that people really going through. This right here makes us stronger. Let's understand who we are as a team. Let's understand who we are as men. And let's make somebody smile when we walk out of here. Hell yeah, we lost the game, but so what? So what? I kept something inside of me so bad last night. A 17-year-old child. You know about the child, coach. He passed 10 a.m. yesterday morning. A bone cancer. His mama called me bowling. So sometimes you gotta ask yourself, how great is your pain? If he give you enough of an opportunity to come back and do it again.
Ooh, woo!
That was worth it.
How great is your pain if God gives you another opportunity to come back and try again? And Bobby, we're probably going to get dinged because I didn't know it had that background music. I will be the one when we get the copyright ding from YouTube. I will cut it. That's my bad, but it was worth it. It was worth it.
You know why?
Sometimes you have to ask yourself, how great is your pain if you have another opportunity?
Now everyone knows why my face was the way it was when you asked. I'm like, where are you bringing it in from? What's it sound like? What are you doing over there? You're getting fired up about it. So anyway, the fun back end stuff of reality in the YouTube world. But I think even if we do, it was well worth it. Hope you guys enjoyed it.